Hi everyone, today we're talking about Aurora Cannabis stock, and it's a stock that I've not really talked about for a good probably year, 2 years. And when the cannabis hype was going on, that was the last time I actually talked about the stock. And I actually used to be a shareholder in the stock about 2 years ago, I think it was, and I bought in at a decent price and I sold out at a decent price. And I took my profit, and I was really happy with my profit at the time. And then the kind of all cannabis sector really got hyped up, and I've not really touched it since. But it seems like prices are kind of coming down to a bit more of a realistic value now. I'm not saying that they're at value prices right now; they're still quite overvalued. But we are talking about growth stocks, and many growth stocks are generally overvalued stocks. Now, Aurora Cannabis is a stock that I this weekend have spent quite a bit of time looking into. I've kind of like refreshed my knowledge with Aurora Cannabis, and some things have changed, some things haven't changed. I also had another stock at look at another cannabis stock, which was Aurora stock, Aurora Cannabis stock. So I had a look into that, and if you want to see a video on them as well, just put it down in the comment section, and I'll do a video about them. But I didn't want to like bombard the channel with too many cannabis stocks in case nobody was really interested about them. But it all really came from that I was kind of talking about Aurora stock that I got into, and on about their like weed sector, and I was like, I haven't really looked into like any cannabis stocks for a while, and I thought I would, and I got to Aurora stock, and I had a bit of an interest in looking into it, and it kind of caught my eye a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie, before I get to the end of the video, I kind of say if I'm gonna go buy the stock, but I am slightly interested in the stock after looking into it this weekend, and it's one that's definitely on my list right now that I'm just kind of like tracking and seeing what's going on with the stock. I think as well, Aurora Cannabis, it's down at $55.95. And also it was quite heavily in the news the week before as well. And that was due to earnings, and earnings came out and earnings were really good. And if earnings were just like left how it was, it would have been totally fine. But what happened is Aurora kind of said they were expecting to make profit this year, and everyone else was like, oh, you're not going to make profit, but they still said they were. And then investors were kind of like thinking, oh yeah, we believe them, and then they didn't make profit, and then the stock got absolutely slated. So a lot of people didn't think they would make profit, and quite a few investors thought they would, and then they kind of sold out, like panic sold. And I think that's kind of where the whole kind of sell-off came from in Aurora Cannabis stock right there. And it was one of those things where when I looked into stock, I was like, yeah, I can clearly see that they're not going to make profit this year. And that's probably one of the negatives about the stock, is that it is not made profit yet, and next year it is forecast to just about make profit, which is kind of worrying, because if a bad quarter does happen, if gross margins get hit, then it might mean another year of not making profit, and that is definitely one of the biggest negatives with the stock. Now, even though that's one of the negatives, or the biggest negative of the stock, this company is here to be the number one player in this sector, and that is why they are kind of like so like close to not make a profit, because they want to be number one, and they've invested a lot in the capacity that they can produce, and they kind of want to go against Canopy Growth and try and challenge them, and that's why they're also the number one producer right now at the moment. The thing with Aurora as well is that they're trying to go into many continents right now and producing so many, and they have tried to build that capacity, so they are the number one player right now. When we talk about a stock like Aurora, even though they're kind of making profit right now, they're nowhere near producing as much cannabis as what Aurora can do right now. And it's kind of one of those things where if they put into all this investment in the long term, are they able to eventually make that profit and keep that growth up? Because when we look at the company itself, the growth looks fantastic and what they're going to be able to produce, and the earnings report that they did, the growth was fantastic in that. Also, when we look at the forecast from analysts as well, the analysts look pretty good at what they're going to be saying. It looks at the analysts, and all analysts kind of had a neutral or buy rating on the stock right now, which is kind of a strong push from them as well. And as well, the balance sheet wasn't too bad. Obviously, they're going to not be making a lot more money right now, but they've still got plenty of cash right there on that balance sheet, which was also another good thing with Aurora stock. And when we look at the 52-week high to where it is right now, it's had a nice pullback, and it kind of says now that all that, when we had the big explosion into the pot stocks last year, I think it was, or a year and a half ago, that's all kind of faded right now. So we're actually at prices that everyone's not getting in at a hype for, and that kind of makes me a little bit more confident if I was to invest in this stock. So I do see like an upside in this, and I've looked into this stock. I looked into Aurora stock, so I'm going to see which one I prefer overall. But it's one that I might be making a few more videos about, because it's one that I'm considering right now investing into. Like I say, if you want to see a video on Alpha stock, I'll make a video about it. But that's kind of like what I got into in Aurora stock right now, looking into that stock to start with. So if you could give the video a like, guys, subscribe if you haven't, that'd be amazing. And I'll see you in the next video.